Okay, next up is the Downforce wing. So I just got this back from paint, and wow, I almost got super scared of what would be involved to do this, because Downforce gave this to me with the LED installed, wiring coming through the hole already. But when I got it back from the body shop, they pulled out the wiring completely. So I was dreading how I'm going to fish this wire through. Am I going to use a coat hanger or what? Look at how tiny this hole is. It's just wider than these wires. And then I looked in this hole and noticed that there's a hose here. And I said, okay, hopefully what Downforce did is they connected these two from the middle to the side, and I fished through the wiring and it'll come out here. What problem is this wiring is very small gauge, and so it's only so stiff, right? So like if I push through, it's gonna start like crinkling up and not want to push through nicely. Luckily, it pushed through 99% of the way before it started having a hard time. Right at this very end, like we can see right now, I'm pushing. You can use this white line as a reference. I'm pushing. It won't go anymore. The wires reach to about right here on this hose. And I looked through and I prayed that I was to be able to see the wires. I could have cut this down. I was about to cut this down, the sheathing, this tubing, a little bit more just to see if I can see the wire. Luckily, I saw it like right at the like a centimeter from the end. So then I stuck my needle nose pliers in and grabbed it. But wow. I mean, if it had started to get like hard to push when the wire was only like right here, I don't know what I would do. I would have to somehow get a coat hanger that's flexible enough, like fish it through this end until it sticks out there, hopefully, and then attach my wire and pull it out this way. But my only concern about doing that with like a coat hanger is if I stick a coat hanger in here, I don't want to push through this way with the coat hanger and then dislodge the hose however the hose is connected. I don't know how this plastic hose is connected to the inside of this. If it's just like lightly glued in there and I push through a rigid coat hanger, it might dislodge it, and then I have like no way of basically fishing the coat hanger through this tiny little hole. So I was very lucky with this, and a pretty smart design from Downforce with this. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the rest of this wiring through and then install the brake light with the 3 bolts. And then I just need to wire up the end of this with the plug that Downforce gives you. And then I should be done. Alright, continuing on, I pulled this grommet off of my OEM spoiler, and I'm going to use that with the Downforce spoiler. This is going to be important because this piece goes actually into the trunk, and this is what's going to help keep water out. So you really need to keep this. Downforce does not give you this. They just give you, again, this piece and the connector. So we're going to go ahead, fish this through. I had to de-pin the OEM connector, pull the wires out in order to get this piece off. I'm going to fish this through. Simple as that. And then now we're going to work on pinning this. Okay, I took the moment to install a heat shrink tube on the end of this. OEM has just electrical tape, but it's super sticky electrical tape, and my electrical tape is not really that great. So this tube I have fits over this piece, but this piece is a lot bigger than the wires, so this tube is not going to be able to shrink down enough to cover this. So I'm going to shrink it down as much as I can and then finish it off with electrical tape. But first, let's go ahead and put these wires in the connector. So I believe it goes like this, so red on the left. So it clicks in. Flat side goes down. I just use the scissors to push in the black part, push in the wire. connect this piece and you are good to go. So let's do the shrink tubing right now. Alright, this is as small as a shrink tube could get for me, so not bad. I'm going to wrap the end of this in electrical tape. Most of this part of the wire is going to be tucked into the wing, and this is going to be sitting outside. So you can see the trunk there in the background. These are going to plug in. These two plugs are going to sit inside of the trunk. Going to tuck into the trunk. This is going to go on top of the trunk, and the rest of this is just going to sit up inside the spoiler. So that's the plan for now. Don't mind the dust. We are zoomed in here, which is why you can see everything, but I got these connectors connected, and you're just going to tuck this in here. It's a really tight fit, but they do fit in here. And this rubber thing has a front with an arrow at the top, so that that's going to matter, because this area is going to be want to stick directly into your spoiler, so it needs to be in the right orientation. And then just going to want to install this onto the trunk. Got it in there, sitting nice and flush. And now this might be a little bit hard. I'm going to have to tuck everything else into the wing. So we have the wing right here. Going to basically tuck everything in here. I probably should zip tie this all and stick it in there, but I'm a little lazy right now and only have one hand. Okay, let's give you guys a look. You can see that the grommet is fishing up into the spoiler perfectly, and we've installed it. So now we're just going to put the nuts on the wing, and okay, don't forget to test your brake light. I already tested my third brake light. Make sure all the LEDs work and everything like that before you do all this. So grab your nuts for the spoiler. Alright, so after I chased the threads, there was a little bit of paint on them. You're going to want to install the nuts for the spoiler. Okay, and there's the spoiler. So I think this is probably the first time I mentioned that I was getting a Type R style spoiler on the channel. The hood came first, and of course the wing next. So just something that I want to try. I think probably every NSX owner goes through the process of getting the OEM plus style body parts. So whether you have an Integra, S2000 or whatever, probably most people go through a phase of going through OEM lips and spoilers and all that junk. So this is my phase, so we'll see how long it lasts, but pretty happy with the outcome. This is a Downforce spoiler, and big thanks to Jimmy for getting this for me from Downforce and for the paint job on it at Signature.